Hey everyone, welcome back to Genai Sports News. We are kicking things off with the biggest game in European football, and what a game it was. According to ESPN, Paris Saint-Germain have retained the UEFA Champions League title, beating Arsenal on penalties in a dramatic final held in Budapest, Hungary. PSG had to come from behind to force the shootout, and when the dust settled, they became just the second club in history to win back-to-back Champions League titles. What an absolutely enormous achievement for that squad. Now, the heartbreak on the Arsenal side is real. BBC Sport is reporting that defender Gabriel stepped up to take a penalty for the Gunners, his first ever in an Arsenal shirt, and it was saved, effectively handing PSG the trophy. BBC Sport described it as a, quote, cruel blow for a player who gave everything on that pitch. Arsenal midfielder Declan Rice also spoke out after the match, and Sky Sports caught up with him. Rice said the defeat was brutal and cruel, but made it clear that this result will not define what Arsenal are building. The Gunners pushed all the way to extra time, and there will be no shortage of pride despite the loss. This is a massive moment for football. PSG are champions of Europe once again. Moving on to Roland Garros, and there is a massive upset to tell you about at the French Open. ESPN is reporting that defending champion Coco Gauff has been knocked out, and she didn't even make it to the second week. Gauff fell to Anastasia Potapova in 3 sets, with the scoreline reading 4-6, 7-6, 6-4. It's a stunning early exit for a player who was looking to defend her title on the Paris clay. But while one star exits, another is shining brighter than ever. Also at Roland Garros, ESPN reports that 4-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka has made the 4th round of the French Open for the very first time in her career. And her reward? A blockbuster matchup against the world's top-ranked player, Aryna Sabalenka. That is a match you absolutely do not want to miss. Osaka has looked sharp all tournament, and this could be a genuine statement moment for her. One champion bows out early while another writes a new chapter. That's why we love the French Open. Now let's head to the NBA playoffs, because things just got a whole lot more interesting in the West. ESPN is reporting that the San Antonio Spurs have pushed their series against the Oklahoma City Thunder all the way to a Game 7 after pulling off a gutsy Game 6 victory. Nobody saw this coming. The Thunder have been the dominant force in this series, but San Antonio refused to go quietly. The Spurs dug deep and earned the right to play a winner-takes-all Game 7. ESPN broke down what was most surprising about San Antonio's win and who the key X factors will be when these two teams meet for the final time. The stakes couldn't be higher. One team's season ends, and the other punches their ticket deeper into the playoffs. Game 7 basketball is the purest form of the sport, folks. Everything on the line. One game, no second chances. Keep your eyes on this one. Switching over to the NFL, and Baltimore Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson is apparently feeling very, very good right now. ESPN sat down with Jackson, and he opened up about heading into the new season. With a new head coach and a new offensive coordinator in place, Lamar said that this offseason has genuinely felt like a breath of fresh air for him. He also pushed back on anyone trying to put him in the veteran category just yet. He was quoted saying he's, quote, not in UNC yet. Love the confidence. It sounds like Lamar is energized, hungry, and ready to prove he's still at the peak of his powers. When one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the league is this fired up about a fresh start, the rest of the AFC needs to pay close attention. Jackson under a new offensive system could be even more dangerous than we've already seen, and that's a terrifying thought for opposing defenses. Let's head to Zurich for some huge hockey news. ESPN is reporting that Florida Panthers captain Aleksander Barkov, who, by the way, missed the entire NHL season with an injury, came back with a vengeance representing Finland at the Ice Hockey World Championships. Barkov led Finland to a 4-2 upset victory over Canada on Saturday, knocking the Canadians out of the tournament. Finland now sets up a championship final against Switzerland. What a return for Barkov. This guy sat out the entire NHL season and then immediately stepped onto the international stage and carried his country to the brink of a world title. That is the kind of elite competitor he is. The World Championship final is going to be electric. Do not sleep on this one. We've got a couple of quick-hit stories to squeeze in here. First, on the NFL front, ESPN is reporting that the Minnesota Vikings have hired Teasley as their new general manager. Teasley comes over from the Seattle Seahawks organization, and his hiring brings the curtain down on what ESPN called an unusual chapter for the Vikings franchise. It'll be fascinating to see what direction he takes the team heading into the new season. And across the Atlantic in the world of football, there's some serious off-field news. ESPN is reporting that former England winger Raheem Sterling was arrested on Thursday morning on suspicion of driving while under the influence of drugs. This comes at an already difficult period in Sterling's career. There's no further detail on the outcome of that arrest at this stage, but it's certainly a troubling headline for the player. We'll continue to monitor that situation as more information becomes available. And finally, let's take a look at something that could shake the entire world of baseball to its core. ESPN's Jeff Passan has a deep dive into the brewing battle over Major League Baseball's collective bargaining agreement. And folks, this one is worth paying attention to. The league is pushing hard for a salary cap, something that has never existed in MLB before. Meanwhile, the MLB Players Association is digging in and fighting it with everything they have. The two sides are miles apart on this issue, and according to ESPN, the early proposals have already set the stage for what could be a very contentious negotiation, with the threat of a lockout hanging over everything. The last time baseball had a work stoppage, it left serious scars on the sport. Fans, players, owners, nobody wins when the game stops. ESPN's breakdown makes it clear that this is a complex battle with enormous implications for how players get paid and how competitive balance works across the league. Something to keep a very close eye on in the months ahead. All right, that is going to do it for today's edition of Genai Sports News. What an absolutely jam-packed day in the world of sports. PSG are champions of Europe, Gauff is out at the French Open, and Game 7 basketball is on the way. If you enjoyed the show, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments, and make sure you're subscribed so you never miss a thing. I'm Genai. See you next time.